Hey everyone, AMR back again with another video. So in today's episode, I will be doing a build your best lineup with only having $10 to spend. So if you've ever seen some of these in the past, I've never done it on the channel, but these are very popular. Essentially, you have the best of the best players being rated at the highest, and then it just keeps going down as well as diminishing in talent. The end goal is to not spend $10 or more. Well, the end goal is to spend $10 or less, I should say, and then also have the best team. So the only constraint that I have in this case will be you have to have one quarterback, one running back, and two wide receivers. So you should be able to build out the entire team, granted that you're only able to spend $10. So I'm going to create one lineup at $10, and then I will be creating another lineup at $15, bumping up one running back, as well as the everything else stays the same. So as always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It took me a little bit to go ahead and accumulate all of these headshots. It's not as easy as you might think, so hitting that like and subscribe is going to go a very long way for me. It helps out a ton. But let's go ahead and jump into this. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk through all these headshots really quick, so that way there's no unknown as to who's where. So also, a big reason why players are listed where they are is these are where the current rankings have them based off of their position. So when these people come at me and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Lamar Jackson is all the way at a $2 value, that's where he's ranked right now, which is baffling to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he doesn't have like a true wide receiver one. He's got Rashad Bateman, fantastic, but realistically that receiving core, it needs a lot of work. And then also there's gonna be a lot of people that come at me and say, how is Terry McLaurin down here at a $1 value? Just look it up. I don't know what to tell you. Leave me alone. Anyway, so here at the $5 value, you have Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes. At the running back position for $5, you have Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook. And at the receivers, you have Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Jefferson. Going down to the $4 value, you have Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. Running back, you have Ezekiel Elliott, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. And at receiver, you have Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Deontay Johnson, Mike Evans, and Keenan Allen. Looking here at the $3 value, you have Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. Looking here at the running backs, you have Josh Jacobs, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Gibson, Damian Harris, and Saquon Barkley. At the receivers, you have Hunter Renfrow, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman Jr., CeeDee Lamb. $2, you have Lamar Jackson, Jimmy G, Mac Jones, Matt Ryan, Tua Tagovailoa. Looking here at the running backs, you have DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Cam Akers, David Montgomery, James Conner. Looking at the receiver, you have Brandon Cooks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Williams, Hollywood Brown, and AJ Brown. And then down at the $1 value, you have Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, and Marcus Mariota at quarterback. Running back, you have Devin Singletary, Elijah Mitchell, Cordero Patterson, Chase Edmonds, and Breece Hall. And then rounding out the $1 category, you have Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, Darnell Mooney, Devonta Smith, and T. Higgins. So just going to go ahead and do a quick recap. You have to have one quarterback, one running back, and two wide receivers for this first one, and it has to be $10 or less. And then for the second one, I'll go ahead and reiterate then, but it's going to be the exact same thing, bumping it up to 15 and adding a running back. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. So I think given that you have to spend not a lot of money here, you would really have to end up spending like a $5. If you want to do a $5 player, you have to do $5, and then you'd probably realistically only be able to do maybe a 3 and then 2 1s or 2 2s. There's a lot of different ways to skin this cat, but we're talking about the best team overall. So if I had to go about this, I haven't done this, so you're seeing this on the fly. And we do have a bunch of people down here at the very bottom that are kind of fill-ins if you wanted to. DeAndre Hopkins, I chose not to put in there. because he's being suspended. And then I have a bunch of tight ends, which I'll maybe do in a future video if I get enough interest in this. I just didn't feel like going through and getting all of the tight ends. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So who's going to be our best value at the $1 position? So best value at the quarterback position easily has to be Justin Fields. I feel like Justin Fields is going to be a threat not only through the air but also on the ground this season. The Bears have come out and said that they want to run the football more, and that's where we saw Justin Fields have a much better projection at the end of the season last season. Looking here at the running backs, best value, I mean, there's a lot of talent here. You could take a flyer pick on Breece Hall because he is definitely one of those guys that is going to be a rookie. Don't really know what's going to happen. It seems like the Jets are all in on him. But the problem is he plays for the Jets, so we don't really know what that team's going to look like. Cordell Patterson seems pretty safe along with Elijah Mitchell, given that Elijah Mitchell can stay healthy. And then best value at receiver, I really don't think you can go wrong here. So I don't see us spending a ton of money here at wide receiver. Amari Cooper, he's a high risk player now because he plays for Cleveland, and we don't really know what the situation is going to be like with Cleveland. At the time of recording this, which is June 27th, there's talks that Deshaun Watson could miss the entire season. So we don't really know who his quarterback's going to be, and if Baker Mayfield's in the field, he's definitely going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder, and I don't know if that's going to be a good or bad thing. Terry McLaurin, he's got Carson Wentz throwing to him. Carson Wentz did fine in supporting Michael Pittman Jr. last season, but again, plays for the Commanders. We don't know what's going to happen there. And then T. Higgins seems really safe. I feel like the biggest risk player is going to be Darnell Mooney. Given that he plays for Chicago. I mean, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and I'm really not in on the Chicago Bears offense, even though I said that Justin Fields is probably the best value here. Right around that middle of the pack, here, we have a ton of talent. We have Antonio Gibson, when healthy, is one of the more sneaky, very solid picks. He's not going to win you any weeks, and he's definitely not going to lose you any weeks. He seems very safe. Saquon Barkley tends to get hurt a lot. Same story with Damian Harris. Patriots actually went out and got another running back this draft, so we don't know what they're going to do there. Got Leonard Fournette, who could see an expanded role now that Gronk is going to be injured, and then Chris Godwin is also going to be out for the majority of the season. Hunter Renfrow seems to be a fantastic pick. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb. DK Metcalf scares me just because he plays for Seattle right now. Him on literally almost any other team, he's going to be a monster, but him stuck on that Seattle offense is going to be putrid for him. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is fantastic here as well. Jalen Waddle scares me because of the addition to Tyreek Hill, which is up here in the number 4. And so looking here at 4 and 5, it's just completely loaded here. So do you want to spend all of your money on a quarterback? Do you want to kind of even it out and have, maybe 2 3s and 2 2s? I feel like that's a good option without diving too deep into anything. I feel like there is a ton of talent here. I mean, you could definitely take a Lamar Jackson. I would be more than happy to take a DeAndre Swift, for instance, maybe even a James Conner. And there's your 2 2s. Looking here at your 2 3s, you could be convinced into taking a Russell Wilson and, possibly you have to pick another receiver here. So you're going to end up having to take you can't take Russell Wilson. What am I saying? So it would be Lamar Jackson, DeAndre Swift, and then you could just pair up here and do a Michael Pittman Jr. and CeeDee Lamb. Totally warranted there. I just don't know if I want to go ahead and commit to that just quite yet. Personally, I'm feeling like I really want the Josh Allen. Josh Allen to me is a difference maker. Let's go ahead and move him down for right now, and let's just see what we can go. Let's see what we can do here. So $5 immediately off the board. That's going to hurt quite a bit. So now we only have $5 remaining for 3 more positions. And for those math whizzes out there, that's not a lot. I think that we could go ahead and with a reasonable doubt, we could commit to a Terry McLaurin if we really had to. The only downside is I feel like I would be having to get talked into the position rather than being excited about it. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 3 options here. So At running back, is there anyone that I'm super excited about? Actually, no. Our value is going to be in running back at the 1 position. So looking here, I think that the easy option is going to be Cordell Patterson with the $1 value. You know you're going to have some kind of a sucky type player here near the bottom. Like you're just inevitable at this point. So we're down to $6, or we have $6, we have $4 remaining, and we have we have 2 wide receivers that we have to end up filling. So if it's up to me, I think I'm taking CeeDee Lamb and I'm not stacking, but I'm taking Terry McLaurin. So it's going to be pretty tough to beat this, but you have Josh Allen at quarterback, you have Cordell Patterson and CeeDee Lamb paired with a Terry McLaurin. So that's a fantastic lineup. I don't know if I'm completely sold on it yet, so let's go ahead and restart. It seems like spending a lot of your money on the quarterback position may not be worth it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and consider the idea of maybe spending all that money on our running back instead. So is there something that Jonathan Taylor could bring to the team that would be such a leg up on the competition? I need to correct this because my OCD is freaking out. So we're back to that $5 deficit again. It really does feel like kind of a burden, but we do have the running back taken care of at this point. And I honestly feel like having Lamar Jackson at 2 is fantastic there. Having a Lamar Jackson paired with a Jonathan Taylor, I think we're in a very advantageous position. So we're sitting here at, what is this, 7? We have $3 to spend and we need a pair of wide receivers. So do we want to go ahead and spend up on a $2 wide receiver, or are we happy with taking, put this over here, or are we happy taking 2 $1 wide receivers? That's a good question. So here's my thought. I don't think Amari Cooper is going to be good, and that sucks because I liked him a lot at Dallas, and I just don't see it being a thing, really, honestly. But looking over here, I think you could easily be talked into an AJ Brown, and AJ Brown, and I think I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin again. So I like this lineup far better than the other one. You have a 1, 2, so you're at 3. You have the 2, which you are now at 5, and then you have the 5. So our team right now is Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown, and Terry McLaurin. That is a fantastic lineup in my opinion, and I love it. Let's go ahead and swap this out one more time, making our star player going to be the wide receiver. Looking here, we got to put Terry McLaurin back, put AJ Brown, put Lamar Jackson back at the quarterback, and put Jonathan Taylor up here at the top. So how do we want to do this here? We're going to blow all of our load on on someone at the top. Do we want to put this? God, I hate when I do this. I put them in the middle and then it messes with me. Do I want to take a Devontae Adams? Definitely not. Do I think Cooper Kupp can repeat? Definitely not. Do I think Deebo Samuels can repeat? I don't really see it happening. I think Justin Jefferson could be the best here of the field. My problem is I see a couple of talented guys down there at the $4 position that I just can't get around justifying $5 on a wide receiver. So for that reason, I'm out. I think I'm going to end up going with... Ooh. Should I do 2 $4 wide receivers? Do a $1 quarterback and a $1 running back. Let's just see what that looks like here. So who is going to finish on the top? I think Jamar Chase has another repeat type season. And then I think Mike Evans is going to be disgusting. I have to imagine that Justin Fields is going to be good. He's easily the best number one or the $1 quarterback that there is. There's really no debating that. If you want to debate it, that's fine. Have fun talking to a wall, but you're not going to convince me. Breece Hall is interesting. If you want to take a chance on him, you could. The defense or the offense in Miami is just not going to cater to that Chase Edmonds. He's a little older now. He's not the same running back that he used to be. Cordell Patterson was fantastic when he was involved as a receiver. However, that wasn't always the case. And so for that reason, I think I'm going to default to Elijah Mitchell. Looking here, you have a Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Justin Fields, and Elijah Mitchell. I love the lineup, but let's go ahead one more time and then go for a true best lineup here based off of what is available. Okay, so we've kind of messed around a little bit, putting things here, putting things there, trying to figure out what's going on. So personally, I think the best value at the quarterback is going to end up being your Lamar Jackson for $2. You can at me if you want, but I feel like that is going to be your best value. Players that have a ton of value from the 3 and up position. There's not a ton of difference makers here at the running back position. If anything, I think you're going to end up overpaying for one. Ton of talent here at the $5 position for running backs, but you're going to end up paying a ton for them, and I don't see that coming to fruition. So I think I'm going to take a Michael Pittman Jr. and a CeeDee Lamb. So we have the 6, we have the 8, and we have the option between a $2 or a $1 running back. So do you want to go ahead and take that leap on the DeAndre Swift hitting this year, Javonte Williams hitting this year, David Montgomery, who's very safe, James Conner, who literally had the backfield cleared out for him to be the number 1 guy there. So there's a ton of options, if you will. So I think what you're going to end up finding is that given all of the efforts that have been putting into that Detroit offense, I really think that if DeAndre Swift can stay healthy, he could be the true value at the running back position. And so this is going to be my final lineup here with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Michael Pittman Jr., CeeDee Lamb, and DeAndre Swift. I'm happy to hear what you put down in the comments down below with what you got. Let's go ahead and up this to a $15 lineup, adding 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 quarterback. $15 or less. Let's go ahead and see what we can get. Okay, so following a very, very similar approach here, I kind of like the idea of maybe starting off with a Justin Herbert at $5. And so now we have $10 remaining for 4 positions. So let's go ahead and try and find a value position player. I did like the DeAndre Swift pick, so I think we're going to end up sticking with that. We are now sitting at $7, so that is $8 remaining for 3 more positions. So we have $8 remaining for 3 positions. So I think you could go ahead and take the Jamar Chase. I feel like that adds a ton of value. You are now sitting at 11. You have $4 left for the remaining running back and wide receiver. So I think that there's plenty of talent still available. At the wide receiver position, I think that it's a pretty no-brainer in this case, and that is going to end up being A.J. Brown for me. And with our last pick, it has to be another running back, and who else but... I'll give you a second to see if you can think who I'm thinking of. All right, so if you guessed David Montgomery as the running back, then you got it, because I feel like he is the safest option. It's a shared backfield in Denver, kind of. Cam Akers coming off an Achilles injury. He was fine towards the end of the season last season, and he played very well. We just don't know what that's going to be like. It's very hard for a running back to come back from Achilles. James Conner's James Conner. He's going to get banged around, and honestly, he's just not the same guy. Looking here at the running backs position, you got Devin Singletary. He's been known to do very well at the end of the season, make everyone think that he's up for a good year, and he just disappears for the first 10 weeks of the season, then starts to play good again. I don't want to be on that roller coaster. Cordell Patterson, very similar story as the James Conner. Cordell Patterson, very similar story as the James Conner situation. He ends up getting banged up. Most of his value came from as the receiver in that offense, and they stopped kind of throwing the ball. It could be very different with Marcus Mariota as his quarterback. He could do a lot more checkdowns. I've already talked about the Chase Edmonds situation. Elijah Mitchell, he plays for San Francisco. And if you're a running back in San Francisco, I'm sorry, you're going to end up getting hurt at some point. It's just the way it is over there. And then Breece Hall, he's just too unknown as a running back. He could end up being a star player, but I'm not willing to put the risk on him yet. So for our first $15 lineup, we have Justin Herbert, DeAndre Swift, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, and David Montgomery. Wow, what a lineup. Okay, so let's put a situation out there and let's go for a true best of the best lineup here. I don't want to make this video any longer than it has to be, and I really do find these videos very fun if they're done right. And so dragging this on is definitely not what I'm at for here. So, okay, going for best possible lineups here. I mean, I kind of feel like Kyler Murray has a bunch to offer. I just can't buy into that yet. I don't know. I think that Dak Prescott could be very interesting. But again, having Lamar Jackson down here at the $2 value offers so much upside. Are you kidding? Like that's crazy. Looking at the receiving core, I think that you can go ahead and put CeeDee Lamb in there for your $3. I could buy in on Mike Evans. So you are sitting at $7. You have $8 remaining for 3 more positions. You have a quarterback left, which I'd be totally fine. You always have the safety net of Justin Fields down here. But let's go ahead and fill out our running back situation. I'm actually going to spend the load on Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to have a repeat type season this year. And we are already up to, what is that? 7, 12. So we have $3 remaining. We have $3 remaining for another running back and a quarterback. And so if you have any brain cells left, I think you know what I'm going to end up picking here. Actually, hold the phone. You know what? I think I just convinced myself. that I'm going to take Elijah Mitchell here and Lamar Jackson as my quarterback. I was so convinced that I was going to take DeAndre Swift and Justin Fields, but I think I like this way better. You have CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Jonathan Taylor, Elijah Mitchell, and Lamar Jackson. That's going to do it for today's episode. Please comment down below with what you think I completely screwed up on. I would have loved to probably pick from the lot a little bit more up here, but $5 on a receiver is pretty tough. I think $4 and $3 is going to be your sweet spot. But as always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Helps me out a ton. I'll catch you next one. See you.